Hello and welcome to another episode of the Roach Koach Podcast, the journey to create the Nu-Metal Canon. My name is Lorin Kozlowski. With me, as always, the original Roach Rider, Mr. Matt Nas.
Keep it rolling, baby.
Thank you, Matt. We are back. We are back for another episode of Roach Koach, creating the Nu-Metal Canon, one album at a time. This week, we've got a big one, you guys. We got a big one because we are talking about the boys in Sevendust once again. And there was only one person we could get for this episode. We had to go out to lands of Twitter and find the biggest Sevendust fan in the entire world to talk about this album. You may know him from his podcast, Action for Everyone. You may know him just from his Twitter feed, where he sees every action movie and lets you know whether or not it's a ripper or not. It's Vyce Victus. Vyce, welcome.
Hey, yo, what's going on? It's your boy Vyce, aka the chocolate hawkfish. What's going on? I had to be a good little nickname for this show because my name Vyce is my rap name podcast. So I needed another one.
All right, beautiful. Vyce, thank you so much for coming on. I've been a longtime fan of you on Twitter, as I was telling you before we started recording. You are, I feel like you're almost like the action movie like maven, as my dad would say. Like you're out there, you see it all, you're letting us know. Yeah, this one, yeah, they're stabbing necks. You got to see it. Or, this one, they're not stabbing enough necks. You can skip it. Like I remember a couple weeks ago, Beekeeper was coming out. I was like, I'm just keeping my eyes peeled. When's Vyce going? And of course we know that one's an all-timer. Incredible.
The ribs, man. Yeah. And part of the whole, I guess the secret is it's not just me. I have a whole community, which I'll talk about in a minute here. We have a whole kind of sect, if you will, following of these action movie fanatics from around the world, really. And part of how I kind of came to be is that kind of international online cultivation. But no, yeah, like I have my own little like interests and niche and point of view, and it helps kind of develop, or it helps strengthen the overall action movie kind of community. Like it's not, we see all the interesting parts about it beyond just jump kicks and punches to the face. Even although that is cool.
I need some of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely your input. I definitely, also on Twitter, Brandon Stressing, also Outlaw Vern, you guys all kind of, I put in the same category of guys who are just out there just looking for, the deeper stuff, which I've always kind of put as like the first time I really thought of like on a deeper level was when Vern made the Steven Seagal book, Seagology.
Yeah.
And that kind of was like, okay, people are thinking this on a more scholarly level. And then from following you, I noticed that you were a guy going to metal shows, a guy going to shows, and then you have a great love of Sevendust. And then I learned when just doing some research the other day of your Twitter feed, just to see some other takes you put on Sevendust, that Sevendust is your favorite band of all time.
Indeed, yeah, and it's well, I guess first up in a broader sense, in the same way we're kind of a action movie fanatic, in that I take the text seriously. I kind of feel the same way about nu-metal. As we're all probably aware, it's kind of a much derided genre of music, but as we know, the true believers, just there's so much more to it, and like action movie, yes, it's there if you want to bang your head and rip some Coors Light, whatever. It's there for that. It's not, as part of its DNA, but there's a lot of stuff also behind it. And to me, bands like, Deftones or Sevendust, in this case, specifically, they are kind of emblematic of that. They have so much going on, like content and lyric wise, and just as people themselves, as artists, musicians. We know it's still ripping fucking riffs and breakdown. It's still about that too. So yeah, like they kind of, that energy matches what I've been really interested in for years now. That kind of thematic weight with that visceral punch to it. It's perfect stuff for me.
Yeah. What is your history with Sevendust? I'm assuming you've seen them live many times.
Several times. Well, more in recent years than that. Well, I guess so. Around people my age, mostly is like kind of a similar story. I think maybe people's first exposure to them was actually they had the network broadcast half-hour concert on TV. Like I think it was 97. I think it was during the same year as their debut album release. So, so that was like late night, on Saturday night, and you see this TVT branded like mini concert basically on broadcast television. And and like I'm sure everybody had the same kind of you see there goes this like these really cool, like, really cool looking Nu-Metal dudes. Then Lajon, like this a standout figure in Nu-Metal and metal and music really. It's just like beautiful looking, long dreaded black guy. He has this soulful voice, but he's like roaring out these great lyrics. It's like just his presence, like from the very beginning, is eye catching. And of course, for me, people kind of with some situation is like, oh wow, like you could be being a black person with being a fan of metal and Nu-Metal as it grew up. Like it's interesting experience because like well, Nu-Metal itself has that kind of inherent like hip hop vibe to it. Like John Davis tour with the tracksuits and the actual having like Ice Cube and Pimp C on their album cameos. Like so that hip hop energy is part of it, but like it's not quite. It's a whole other vibe as well. Or like just like Nu-Metal scene in general was about that kind of overt mix of genres and styles and people. So it was like just seeing the John, like it was really like a kind of, I don't know, welcoming, I guess, to the scene, you could say. And from there, of course, you follow the songs, you follow the albums as they go, and like it just becomes we kind of become like, as the John himself says, kind of become like family over the years because you're listening to their albums as time goes on and as you grow as a person, and that kind of you kind of see your life experiences reflected in their experiences. So yeah, just it was really like this kind of kinship of I guess the best kind of way art works and the best way, like have these shared experiences, and the artist kind of communicates that back and forth to you with you and the audience, between the artist and the audience. So yeah, again, it's a really kind of interesting relationship that they have over the years. Stemming from that, that kind of this cool shock of like, wow, this guy looks so fucking cool.
I can definitely appreciate that. Yeah, we've this is the fourth Sevendust album that they put out, and also that we're covering on the show. Released October 7th, 2003. Genre tags Nu-Metal and alternative metal on Wikipedia. This is the last album to feature Clint Lowry until he returned in 2008. So he left in 2004, returned in 2008. This was also this album was dedicated to the memory of both Dave Williams of Drowning Pool, who had passed away in August of 2002, and Lajon's brother Reginald, who had been murdered in November of 2002. So you kind of have a more of a theme here with the record than I think in some in the past. I think Animosity was more about just we gotta rip faces, we gotta rock. But here, this one's a little bit more, has more of a thematic through line, content wise. I will say on this show we have respected but not really gone all in on Sevendust so far. I think on Animosity was the first record that we really grabbed tracks from that put into our personal Nu-Metal canon. But I'm excited to see where we go with this record. The personnel on this record: Lajon on lead vocals, Clint Lowry on lead guitar backing vocals, co-lead vocals and Skeleton Song, John Connolly on rhythm guitar backing vocals, Vinny Horsby on bass, and the hardest working man in rock and roll, Morgan Rose on drums
There he is.
and backing vocals. I will say that going through this, I think people still do not realize how much work Morgan Rose does in this band. This man is basically writing every single song. I think people don't realize that. When I'm going through comments on songmeanings.com, everyone thinks Lajon wrote every single song. And as I've learned, Lajon generally does not write any of these songs. He only has one songwriting credit on this album. Which is always interesting when the lead singer is more of just like channeling for the rest of the band. Kind of like the same thing when you realize that like Pete Wentz writes all the Fall Out Boy songs.
What?
Yes, Matt, I'm sorry to break it to you. Pete Wentz writes all those songs. Yeah.
He didn't write Dance Dance?
Yeah. I'm just telling. Yeah. Patrick Stump is merely a vessel for the words of Pete Wentz.
I'm a vessel for Stump.
Yeah. I have a physical copy of this album here. I picked it up from Half Price Books for a sweet $4.99.
Oh, let's go. Yeah.
That's a big
Yeah,
thrift.
it's a big thrift. It did have a DVD with it that had a hot doc, and I unfortunately overslept this morning and did not get to watch. Uh, I apologize for
And
that. Of course,
Send your disapproval of Lauren's missing the doc to Lauren
Yeah.
Stinks at roachcoach.com.
Please send it over. So I want to say I went through these liner notes, and they made an interesting decision. I don't know, Vice, if you have a physical copy of yours, but they decided to put this sort of like black imagery of like just dilapidated buildings and stuff behind black font. So sometimes you can't read a goddamn thing. It's just I was like, "Come on, guys. I wanna know what's being said." These thank yous seem very important. You will never know what's being said here. This is literally black on black. Like I put a flashlight on it, and then I was like, "What am I doing with my life? What? No, we're not doing."
It's not even like raised and glossy so that you could like tilt it.
Matt, listen, I
Matte.
spent way too much.
Matte. It's literally matte.
It's I spent so much time squinting at this, and then I literally was like, "What am I doing? I need to
Although
step."
I think one wonders if maybe the whole the record label has issues to do this, because I guess kind of famously part of the Sevendust's lore history, right, is that they're kind of falling out with TVT Records, and this is being the last TVT record boost for this band. So I wonder if if this like one of several small cuts or straws that breaks the back of their relationship with that company. It's okay, all prediction on my part. I don't know for sure, but it sounds like it's something that could very well be based on what we know of them throughout the years.
That is true. Yeah, the TVT relationship always contentious. This is the final album on TVT. This record was co-produced by Sevendust and co-produced by Butch Walker, which is another, I guess, Fall Out Boy connection inadvertently. I not intending to make the connection, but he also produced Fall Out Boy. He's produced a lot of people over the years. I think he produced Green Day, but he's known for very much.
Long time, I think you did. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Pink is one. And he also he has a very prolific solo career, which I like some of. And also he was in the band Marvelous 3.
Yeah, I still
And
play that song to this day. Actually, that one hit wonder, as you call it. But
oh,
I think Freak of the Week is what it's called. It's the name of the song. But yeah, I played on MTV back, of course, back in the old time. They played music on MTV, and yeah, that's something that's like to this day a brainworm. I get on it all the time.
yeah, that is a good one. Yeah. I mean, found out recently that I guess Marvelous 3 reunited, and I had even
Oh,
no idea. Yeah, apparently they did like a bunch of reunion shows in like Atlanta or something, and they were sold out. And I was like, man, that was a local situation because it's not music to me.
I think this actually a good point. It's relevant to this the album, not just for notability, because those the hooks, those earworms. That's definitely as we talk about it in this album, kind of further develops the prowess of Sevendust. They always had great hooks. They always had great horses, but like it kind of goes to a different level on this album. I think Butch Walker's are really part of that process. It's just like a few like I don't know keys or levels that aren't quite what Lajon has sung before, and it kind of takes to a different level. Which I thought it's very subtle if you're not looking pay attention to it. But yeah, I definitely felt that throughout the song process in this album for sure.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, and we're definitely going to dive into that. Also, Butch Walker produced the SR71 album Tomorrow that we did on the show last year, which is Matt, you might remember that one. That's the album where he keeps talking about how cucked he is. So
Yes, I do remember that album. That's where he has a video where he specifically puts himself in a situation where he can be cucked. It's
yes.
Like, oh, I'm going to be in the back seat of the car while you make out in the front seat.
What a choice.
What a choice.
Yeah, this is also notably the first album where Lajon has shorn his dreads.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yes. I was very surprised when I got this album and I saw the album coming, and I was like, because I didn't even know about this era. I was not aware. I had kind of dropped out at this point and was not listening to Sevendust that much anymore by this point. And when I saw this, I mean, yeah, you can see in this photo here, uh, short hair.
Mhm.
Um, and I was just like, oh my, this is like when Busta Rhymes cut off his hair. Same situation. I was like, is this allowed? Are we doing this? This is the iconography here. I mean, the thing is funny is that he's grown it back since. It's like
Yeah.
he knew, he knew, he knew.
I think similar in this time frame, I believe it was when Lenny Kravitz, I think, around this era, also did the same thing. He shaved his locks
Oh, wow.
and I remember seeing on the
Yeah.
VH1 specials. They were like it's a cultural thing where people with dreads are like well, it's believed that the hair holds the energy, like Hercules Samson. So it's it's
Mhm.
kind of like a process, like I'm going to release that energy, start over again. So I guess if that might have been on his mind during this process of this album, again, maybe
Right.
be wrong.
Dealing with.
Yeah, but yeah,
Yeah, dude.
also again, also it's cool.
Yeah, I distinctly remember the Lenny Kravitz one because at that point it was just so it was once again so deep in his iconography.
Yeah,
And then I want to say it was with the album 5, I
I
think,
think
with
so.
Fly
Yeah,
Away on it. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and that was that I remember was a very I was a I don't know if I've ever talked about it, but yeah, I was deep Lenny Kravitz in the 90s, like really into Lenny Kravitz. Like, Are You Gonna Go My Way? My gosh, forget about it. That's an all-timer right there. Um so I have a physical copy here. We've got Butch Walker Behind the Boards. Um, I will say it was very interesting to read the sort of feelings on this record when they were promoting it versus what they said about it after the fact. John Connolly, when the record was coming out, said it's really heavy and tons of melody. We're big fans of melody. There's no reason that a heavy band can't have something to sing over. We just really pushed it a lot farther than we had a chance in the last few records. He said that, and he said it's a more mature record. We're more focused. We had a lot more time to spend on it. Butch Walker is a lot more efficient than people we've worked with in the past. And he says, I think we just pushed better songs further than we had a chance to with Animosity. But then in retrospect, Morgan Rose feels that this album is too commercial. He said that they lost creative control due to TVT Records on this one. And he said, when we finished our touring cycle for Seasons, our number one priority was to figure out a way to get out of the record deal that we had been stuck in for quite a while. Once we finally got out, our next priority was not to be stuck in the same position as far as creative control and to be able to make a lot of the musical decisions on our own. Interesting statement, considering what we're going to hear. Um, this was um, this was an okay seller. Wikipedia Wikipedia seems to try to like have it both ways by saying that it gained some substantial commercial success, yet it was the first album to not go gold. So which is it, Wikipedia? Make up your mind. Um, and but the reviews they have, All Music 4 out of 5, Exclaim positive, and Star Pulse, where we all go for our music reviews, give it 4
Oh,
out of
I'm a
5.
big Star Pulse guy.
You love Star Pulse.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
Give me on
goes
the
Star
pulse.
Pulse. That's
Give me on-
right. Yeah. Well, I think it's the perfect time to dive into these tracks. The first song on Seasons is called Disease. Vice, talk us through your feelings on Disease.
I, I think I recall during one of the interviews on the magazine during this press release years ago. They had mentioned that, well, I guess some of us had this reputation for being a party hard kind of band, heavy to the drugs and alcohol. And I think they mentioned that this was their first time, or in this cycle of recording, that they decided to go to record fully sober. At least at that point, at least I'm not sure they might have, if not relapsed, kind of gotten off the straight edge, as it were. But so yeah, just kind of knowing that before I heard the album, just kind of that funny the pick me up at the very beginning there.
Yeah.
The kind of the nod to that lifestyle, and of course, like as we all kind of as the album goes on, you feel that sense of maturity, though, right? What they're talking about, the kind of trying to get past that stuff. But again, once again, it's kind of the motif of their album and their music as a whole is like having a good time, but we're still thinking about these things in a more mature way. Yeah, it's a great opening ripping ass track. It's just fucking that's how you do it. Yeah, that's how you start an album.
Yeah, I agree with that. I put it as a fairly hot open. I did think it was weird that they didn't call this song "Tattoo the World." Like
Yeah.
it feels like the disease. I was like on my notes list, and I was like, "When's disease come in?" And then at some point, I think it's a Morgan Rose backing vocal where he's like, I feel like was added late, where someone's like, "Is this song called Disease?" And they're like, "Oh, we forgot to say it." And then like random, he's just like, "Disease." So you're just like hidden there in the
Yeah.
back. But I'm like, why did I call it Tattoo the World? But Sevendust is one of those bands, kind of like Godsmack, that really insists on one word song titles. The majority of the song titles on this album are one word. So yeah, so you know what? It's your album. You guys can do it.
Yeah.
Um,
And this song for people listening, even though I am the world's biggest Sevendust fan, as they were, I can't remember any of the song names. So I have to like even now, I have to kind of like look and refresh my memory of which the titles back this thing because I've listened to like from start to finish and tried discography multiple times in one setting, like doing work or in the gym or driving. Like I know the words of the songs back to front, but I have no idea what the song names are called. That's a kind of
I
it's
honestly, I think that is also just being, I think it's just being an adult with responsibilities, because I think about as a kid, when I was a teenager, I could tell you song title, I could tell you song length, I could tell you everything. And it's like the moment I got my first bill in the mail, like you need to pay a bill, my brain was like, got to get rid of all this bullshit. You got bills to pay, bro. It's gone. And so yeah, now I mean, I know exactly what you mean. Like yeah, song titles, that's why we're all out there in the streets being like, "Do you remember that song? What's it called?" And we all become our parents, walking around saying like, "Oh, that song's called Tattoo the World." I'm pretty sure, right? Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The song's Teenage Wasteland. I think we all know that it's
We
Teenage
all
Wasteland.
know Teenage Wayland. Absolutely, yeah. So yeah, this one, yeah, I enjoyed the crunching guitar, into the scraping guitar, different types of guitar. You got to get that. The Here It Comes part gets me fucking amped, which is what you want. And yeah, also as you said though, this is a smooth chorus. This chorus is definitely like, we're gonna hit you front to back in the room. We're gonna get you. Matt, you have often been a bit of a Sevendust agnostic. How is disease hitting you?
I'll tell you this. Number one, I didn't know that it was going to be this early in the show that I say this. Man, can Lajon sing? Damn. Every album, I come back to this central tenet that, like, his voice rules.
Yeah.
He has an amazing voice. This song totally works for me. I like the riff. I like the chug. I like when he goes into it. He smooths it out a little bit earlier than I want, but then he pulls back and he kind of like rips a little bit, like he just lets his voice growl. Like before he gets to the chorus, before he gets to destroy all you see, like when he's yelling on "In the world you wanted to find, there was nothing, nothing but the unforgiving." That's top tier. That's really good stuff. And then I feel like this this type of chorus, they this is Money in the Bank. I mean, like this feels very. I almost feel like how many people ripped off Sevendust here? Because this
Hmm.
I've heard this chorus last year on a new track. You know what I mean? Like I just feel like this is at this point. I feel like man, Sevendust did the damn thing, and now what the seed they planted, other people are harvesting. That's how I feel like at this moment in time.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. This is the sole song with basically this has writing credit for Morgan, Clint, Lajon, and Butch Walker. Butch Walker co-wrote 5 songs on the album. And this one, yeah, I mean this one just seems like, yeah, this is what we do, but in a like a fine like diamond tip. Like this is the
Mhm.
Sevendust sound, but really like we're gonna hit you right off the bat. Songmeanings.com, everyone largely in support of this song. Metalhead Mike commented on August 18th, 2017. So this guy's still in it. He said, "This, all caps, is a real album opener. This, all caps, is one that demonstrates how to pull a listener in for the rest of the album, which is as dope as this track." Metalhead Mike,
Metalhead
slow
Mike
down.
fighting the
All
fight.
right. but he's out there. He's like, track 1, let's go.
They sent the
All
bullet.
right.
Oh man.
They said they did. They did. Uh, all right. Well, perfect. Let's keep going. Track 2, we've got Enemy. Vice, are you familiar with the backstory to this song?
No, please enlighten me.
Oh, so this song, as I learned from the wonderful people on songmeanings.com, this is a diss song against Dez of
Oh,
Cool Chamber.
that's right. Yes, it's
Yes,
yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
because Dez was obviously in a band with Morgan Rose's wife,
Mm.
Raina, and then that did not go well, and Morgan Rose has basically always had an axe to grind with Dez for this. And according to Sharpnail, I'm sorry, Shrapnail. I see what they did there. Very clever song meanings comment.
They got you, bro.
They
They
got me.
got you hard.
Yeah. They said Enemy was originally called Pez, a derogatory nickname Rose had for Des Fafara. We called him that because I used to say, I want to take this dude's head and pull it back and rip his tongue out of his neck. This is why they went with Pez. I would like to know why this animosity, see what I did there, exists. I've heard from him that Dez was an ass, but how? Why? I mean, he was miserable after a while in Cold Chamber. Maybe they were greedy and stifling his joy for the music. It's hard to say. I used to rock out to Tyler's song all the time. I really love Cold Chamber, Devil Driver, and yes, Sevendust. I've listened to Sevendust since Waffle. Dez seems like a great person now that he's in a good environment. He openly cares for his fans and bandmates. Devil Driver was probably one of the best concerts I have ever been to. So this person was like, okay, this is what I understand, but also
Here's my history with this band.
I'm a bit of a fan. So then a lot of other people came in. A couple people told him to shut up, which of course they would.
Classic internet.
Yeah, classic. Metalhead M said the lyrics are just killer, and Lajon's voice is so wicked, and also confirms that Dez was an asshole to Morgan's wife. And this one, Matt, you might remember this guy. He wants to go by lyricist, but he decided to get tricky with his spelling, so it looks like his name is Lil Racist. I don't know why he did that, but
Little racist.
yeah, he goes, I'm lyricist, but I'm spelling it funny. And oh man. So anyway, this song is brutal but brilliantly written. When you read up on the underlying story and what has been said between the parties, Morgan has written a direct challenge to man up about Dez being an arsehole. As I said, it's a brilliantly written attack, in my opinion. The thing that I find interesting about this is that it seems to be a song of two purposes. You have Morgan like, I want to go in, I want to like lay it out. I hate this guy. And Butch Walker said, I love this energy. I love what you're doing. But why not when you get to the chorus, go widescreen? Like go as big as possible. Get him to the back, to the front. So in the verses, yeah, call him out. You want to rip his head off. But on those choruses, take us to heaven.
Yeah.
And it's really great. And it's funny because I feel like on paper it shouldn't work, but listening, it's a winner. It's a winner.
So I think probably what maybe you got your interest to maybe be on the show is because somebody had posted the one of the songs here on Twitter, and I kind of just it occurs to me that this album in particular and this song in specific is so cool because it's about these broken relationships and these complex feelings, and the album is about these divorces and people dying and feelings of inadequacy and this depression, all this kind of real emotions. But it sounds like a WWF Attitude Era promo jam. Like it sounds like the kind of song they put in wrestling. And so in fact, as it happens, this song is a perfect emblematic of that because this was the theme song, I guess, as you want to call it, to the WWE's Unforgiven, the 2003 pay-per-view. Like this was the Enemy song was the theme for that event. So yeah, again, it's just like it's one of those perfect things where it's a perfect soundtrack for this kind of high energy thing. Well, no, I would say movies, but in this case, wrestling events. But again, once again, it is actually was a real personal meaning behind it all. That kind of it comes through, but also becomes kind of universal. Like the TV is very much like, and even I remember the video for this where they featured the WWE Superstar China at the time, as the heavy, the bad guy in the music video of the
Whoa.
street fight. You know, and like, so like, yeah, it has that positive energy of like fight music. Like it not
Mhm.
as a very
Oh,
personal, like, fuck you to one from one man to another. And yeah, and then that chorus, okay, like this, I, I I can't sing, but I just that that pitch, that key shift from the
Mhm.
oh, yeah, like that's like a I don't know, like it gets to your pleasure center in your brain, like that shift from the note, that key shift. That's just like a scientifically constructed. And again, I think this goes back to part of Butch Walker's thing. Like I put, Butch Walker's like kind of master of these like making the pop hit. It's like it's an art and a science. It's like that little turn, that twist of the note that Lajon pulls off so well, like between the guitar and his vocals, like that's just a master stroke in that song. Yeah, I mean, you can't. That's what makes this band so powerful. Like not everybody can do this kind of stuff. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
it's very true. Yeah, he's definitely like, yeah, it's just because also if you know that you have a singer like that and you're gonna keep them that yeah, you gotta have that ready to rock and ready to go. And that's the thing that I do really enjoy about this record is that they're like, hey, we have a really great singer, we should let him be a really great singer. Because you have some bands where they'll have somebody who can really belt, and for some reason they will like bring them down. They won't let them do what they need to do. I mean, not really related new metal wise, but like Slater Kinney has Corn Tucker in the band. She's got a wail like you wouldn't believe, and it felt like for the last couple of records they just weren't letting her do her thing. And then on this new record that just came out, all the reviews are like, "Oh, they're letting her sing again." I'm like, "Yeah, why did that take so long? What's going on?" So yeah, it's nice when you hear a record and a song like this from a band that has like a singer who can sing and they let them really sing.
And I think
Um,
with this band, like this album kind of this high point for the progression of their sound to what will become in later albums, where they have this very unique synchronicity, I guess, between Clint and John's guitar tones. Like first of all, they're like expert guitar players on their own rights. Like they get like, and again, like we didn't really learn until like later albums that Clint can like shred, like legit
mhm,
shred. Like they never
mhm,
do that on some albums for the most part, at least in the earlier years. Or like the way they have this very specific tone in a guitar tone that matches so well with the John's voice and each other's voices. It's like that again, that pitch, that shift in the chorus, like it all kind of bends together to one, like it's that like
mhm.
It happens pretty early in the song too. I wanna hear it again
yeah,
because
yeah.
my initial feeling was that it was almost too soon because I was really wrapped up in the aggression of it. Like, I was living for, like, this I want when Sevendust does this, I really, really like it because I would say, like, the earlier albums, my note with Lajon was always that, like, this guy is an excellent classic metal singer. You know what I mean? Like, he could have carried any of those bands, like the big 3 type bands, like,
Mm.
he he's in the pocket there. So, like, when I think of new metal, I usually think of, like, this more gritty kind of, like, forceful, but
Yeah,
then he can do the smoothed out stuff. So, I wanna hear that transition again. Because I'm in, and also, yeah, the glass just broke and Austin's coming down. Yep, like, big attitude area.
that's
The floor falls out so fast that I wasn't ready for it. You know what it was like? Because it's just like,
yeah.
and now, like, it just goes like on a dime. And like, as a band, they're so tight. Obviously, they've been together for so long at this point, and the song craft is so dialed in. Like, it took me by surprise, honestly, when they went this smooth this quickly. On the second hearing, knowing that it was coming, I was like, "Okay, I'm ready. I'm good to go." But the first listen was like, "Whoa, what's happening?" But then he carries it through, and then they get back to being aggressive, and I was like, I love anybody that's listened for as long as some of our fans have know that, like, I'll err on the side of the aggressiveness. I love a good singer. So, like, to hear both of them together is like, "Hmm, well, I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting to get both."
There you go. So Matt, what you're saying is that you believe the song is brutal but brilliantly written, as commenter Lil Racist said.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Call Jenny and tell her that I have another thing for my gravestone.
Okay, perfect.
Agreed with Lil Racist.
Perfect. Well, let's keep it going. This is the title track. It's Seasons. So I really did think on this one. Once again, we have a really big chorus, which I enjoy. Bopping with some chug, always like it. But I really did think on this one that Sevendust really did make a great album for somebody to spot you at the gym. This one, like if you're at the gym and you see a guy and you don't know him, and you're like, "Can I ask this guy to spot me?" And then season starts, and you lock eyes. Your kinship is there, and you're like, "Hey, you need
Get
a
on the rack,
spotter?
bro. I got
Can you
you.
spot me? You spot me?
You didn't even have to say the words, man. I already know. Let's do this.
You
You
know,
going for reps? You going for max? What are we doing?
I put an extra 5 on both sides, and I just need
Oh, we're
somebody
doing
to
a
just make
burnout.
me.
Let's
Yeah,
fucking go,
so
bro.
I just
I'm
want to
in.
just see a couple extra reps in there. I'm feeling it, and now that Seasons is playing, this chorus is happening.
You're
in
sure to
Seasons.
talk a lot for a guy who wants to lift weights.
Yeah. I was like, what? Sevendust in the pocket. They know their audience. They know what we need, and we need spotting songs. So I appreciate that. Vice, are you move some push some weights to this one? How you feel about this one?
I have been deep. I can't. It is innumerable the amount of bench reps I've done to this album over the course of the past 20 plus years now. Like, yeah, it's so spot on. It's scary how accurate that is. Like, even as we look to it, like the album has kind of, well, all the albums have a really kind of distinct ebb and flow to them. And like there's parts where like you can, like, you got pumped up in the beginning, you went overcharged, in the second song. And I was like, hey, catch my breath. And then it's trying to switch it to the I'm going from the squats to the rows now. So I got to like, just one mindset, just tempo. Like it's made for, it's so much made for that tempo of gym work. It's crazy. What else again? Like, it's just like, it's that they excel just as much with this kind of smooth mellow stuff as they do with the hard hitting, the extreme aggro stuff. And again, I think that's why to me, why they last so long, and part of it is why they got that balance so well that I think a lot of other new metal bands of their era of the ilk, they kind of, when they try to experiment, things kind of go awry or go off the tracks. But like they always had this perfect balance, so they can shift that direction of the train or whatever, like, and still maintain balance. So yeah, like, yeah, they always have that aggression and the majesty, if you want to call it that. They always have it. And it's one of the songs that shows that.
Yeah, I think that is definitely a tribute to why they have lasted as long as they have, is that they have like a specific formula that they've been fine tuning. And I guess if you're not on board, then you're gonna be like, Sevendust is gonna Sevendust. But if you are a Sevendust fan, you're like, Sevendust is Sevendusting. This is what I need. This is what I want. Thank you, boys, for doing it again. Matt, how did you feel about Seasons?
It's interesting, this is their fourth one that we've done, correct?
That's correct.
I feel like the way that they're transitioning in previous albums was that it would be a little new, but then it would go, as I kind of said earlier, a little more classic metal, more like this is a straight ahead metal song. Now, I feel like they're going, we have these huge bombastic choruses that we know Lajon can pull off because he's locked in vocally, going back to the chug. And going back to the chug is like, for me personally, where I like them. That's the pocket where I'm just like, hell yeah, I love that. So this one really worked for me. But I also see what you're saying, Lorin, like this. And Vyce, when you were like, yeah, this is almost perfect workout music, because it is like mentally you're locked in, and I've got, whew, all right, let's go. Like I can feel myself shake it off and be like, all right, next rep, let's get in there. Let's do it. And when that happens, it's like, I've got the chug in the song to kind of like propel me. And I'm like, yeah, this is good stuff. I would not say that I've been a huge Sevendust flag waver, but like this is working for me. I'm really liking this so far.
There you go. Songmeanings.com up to this point had been honestly pretty much just a lot of facts given to us. You know, people kind of just saying pretty standard stuff. But people got a little wilder in the comments for this one. Midnight Raven starts off, says, feels to me like it's about a fading relationship. There are a lot of problems he's trying to mend, but getting sick of doing it. The season is way too cold means that this era in the relationship is too difficult. Okay, fair enough. Good analysis. Clash in My Mind responds and says, I'm not being a dick, but most songs that I've read the meaning to that are people thinking it's a relationship related. Not everything is about a person's love life. This song, for example, it could be about society, politics, fear of dying, the beginning of your last time alive. You get cold if you're dying. No one wants life to end. It could be about freedom. Okay. All right. Pump the brakes. All right.
Can we just have a quick pause?
Yeah.
Your last time of dying? What did he say?
The beginning of your last time alive. As one says, the beginning of your last time alive.
That's a real turn of phrase. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I'm entering the last time of live. I'll see you later.
I'll see you later. King AL Rock said, you kill yourself every day you turn away, suffocate, separate, to face it all. Would you save us from yourselves? That verse right there reminds me of our government.
Oh, man.
And guys, after I read that comment, I got out of there. I got right out of there. I said, okay, all right.
That's enough for me.
Enough for me. All right. Up next, we've got Broken Down.
Sevendust, change your locks. Fucking people are ripping you off left and right. Holy cow. That is, again, another chorus that I feel like I've heard in the last 5 years from 7 different bands.
That's interesting, Matt, because for me, this felt like a situation where Sevendust said, uh-oh, it looks like the door is left open over at Linkin Park's house. I'm just going to get in there real quick, steal some keyboards from Mr. Hahn, and then take them back over.
There was a part of me that at the beginning I was like, this does feel a little Linkin Parky, but then they kind of made it their own. But the way that they made it their own, the thing that's kind of killing me is this is 2003. Vyce on the show, we have this thing where we call like a Nu-Metal timeline, and we say like really classic Nu-Metal. Unfortunately, September 11th is kind of the end of that because radio almost completely stopped playing it nationally. There was like
did something happen, Matt? Did something happen?
Yeah, you know, I don't.
Okay, all right, thanks.
We are never supposed to forget it. So September 11th happens, and then we kind of move forward. And Nu-Metal itself as a genre is still. There's a lot of albums that were being made at that time that were like supposed to release the next day. I mean, POD Satellite came out on September 11th, so kind of have like this 2 years of like Nu-Metal bands coming out that nobody really wanted to hear what they were doing. So this comes out in 2003, and that period kind of post 9/11, we call it the Comedown because it's like we've had enough, we don't want any more. This record in the Comedown, Lorin, it's starting to make a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like this for a 2003 record, it does feel like with the major lift choruses and kind of like the big bombastic chorus, but still enough chug. I'm surprised that this didn't do better, you know, like commercially, because it does feel like if you were looking for something like this, it's like there's enough across the board where it's like, okay, this is a no brainer. Like this could get radio play, no problem. Maybe it's just me, but this feels like, I don't know, Money in the Bank, dare I say?
Matt, unfortunately, October 2003 was owned by 2 men in the group called Outkast, and no one else was doing anything else but listening to the speaker box level. We had 2 albums to parse out, Matt. All right? We had 2 albums.
Another classic 2 albums that should have been 1 scenario.
Yeah. But,
we could have done a 50-50 of like the best of Speaker Box and the best of Love Below. I would have dug that. I remember listening to the Love Below on a trip to Chicago from Detroit, and I was like, well, there's an unfortunate amount of filler on this.
Yeah. Matt, where do you stand on Andre 3000's Flute album real quick?
you know what? I respect an artist.
That's all we needed. Thank you, Matt. Thank you.
I mean, when Viola Spolin created, no, yeah. No, I understand what you're going there, but like I do feel like Sevendust is doing a great job in this song of creating a straight ahead radio rock song. To hear them saying that this feels commercial in retrospect, like, hey, they smoothed this out a little bit too much, is not a real surprise. I can see them being kind of now those two comments that seem to contradict each other completely make sense. Because if you're supporting an album that has commercial appeal, you're going to be like, hey, this is the one. And then you don't have commercial success and you're like, we were in the room saying we didn't want to do commercial stuff and we did it. We kowtowed. We did what we were supposed to do to have the hit. And that didn't work. Well, fuck that. We're going to get back in there and we're going to do what we do. Like the comments are starting to make a whole lot more sense to me, but I like the song. It's very smooth.
Yeah. Vyce, how'd you feel about Broken Down?
Well, I'm not sure, the era we're talking about here, I so astute to call the Comedown. Yeah. Like it's, and I remember specifically, so for context for my history, this album came out when I was in the army when I first enlisted. So I was there, like, my first time being a man by myself, quote unquote. That's just so stupid. So with it, so like, but there's also this also coincides with the interesting period of music where this is right near as you call it, the downturn of nu-metal, but also just the next year we saw the kind of the explosion of this the new wave of American heavy metal or metalcore kind of era. So like this is really it's actually really important, like a turning point time frame wise in American music. We have it's the same year as 2003's Meteora, the Park second album. They have stuff like this. So like the change is clear. It's coming because even then being on the kind of the unwanted poster boys of nu-metal, they're still you can see them clearly going in a new direction. And so so you have these kind of weird thing where nu-metal is becoming, it's making a new direction. At the same time, this kind of underground, hardcore, more, Metal God, Kill Switch, Sevenfold, all those guys.
Yeah,
that's kind of, they're getting out slowly. They're gaining power, getting traction too. So it's a really interesting time frame to kind of see where heavy music in general was heading or where it was coming from, because it wasn't all that clear at the time, I guess. Because I remember I heard in that same year I heard Meteor, then I heard Shadows Fall, The Art of Balance, two totally disparate albums, but they caught me all the same. Like I was like, okay, the one has this very old school metal feel. One is of course Linkin Park doing their weird shit, but it was they were still of their time, current, So just very, and here in the middle of that is Sevendust. Yeah, they're very fascinating history, time in history of music.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a single writing credit on it for Morgan Rose. You know this immediately because he's like, I got a bunch of symbols and I'm gonna put them all up top and hit them all in different interesting ways, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much. The only comment I wanted to tell you about on songmeanings.com is from Max Fior, who said, I cannot believe that no one has added a comment to this great Sevendust song.
There it is.
Wow.
To me, I think that this song is about loss or making a dreadful mistake and hoping to turn back the clock. A dreadful mistake? Was this written in 1904? Dreadful mistake? Okay.
Terribly dreadful mistake.
My humors are unbalanced.
I have the vapors.
The vapors, a dreadful mistake has been made.
I missed this one. This is a 2-comment back to back from Slammin 706 from November 25th, 2023, who said, such a great song, really hits. Then immediately commented on their own comment and said, not gonna lie, I'm relating to this song right now. This guy was going through it.
They hit play, went to song meeting, boom, 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 submit. Song's still playing.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
you gotta go back.
This shit is hitting.
Well, Lemon 706, wherever you are, I hope you're feeling better. Hope you get
man.
Yeah. Well, also November 25th and November 28th. I mean, clearly they were home for Thanksgiving. This is
Yeah.
once again Thanksgiving. We've talked
Thanksgiving
about
is
this on the show.
peak.
People are going home, they're seeing their families, and then they are like hearing a song and they're like, what's the Wi-Fi password here? I gotta get a song baby. Sweet grandma. I gotta post. I gotta post.
Like, what excuse can you use to get away from your family at Thanksgiving? Like, oh, I have some work I have to do. And it's just like, what are you doing? And it's just like, this song really gives me the feels. Enter.
Yeah, it's gotta be. All right, we're gonna keep it going.
Do it.
Up next, we've got the song Separate. I wrote in my notes, yeah, with about 8 H's because that riff up top, those boys are revving up. I was like, they putting little bendies in it. I was like, this is what it's all about. And it's a great riff. I wrote Get Off the Wall. If you are leaning against the wall at a Sevendust show and this riff hits, you got to get off the wall. If you don't get off the wall, you got to leave. You got to leave. You got to get off the wall. Yeah, I thought this was great. This also at the point I was like, this is Sevendust perfecting the Sevendust formula on this album. They've cracked the code. Everything's working, nothing's not working. It's all going great. There's also a really great hot drop at about 148. But Vyce, feelings on Separate.
Well, you mentioned about the radio friendliness of it all. This was indeed a radio single release song on the radio, on the single. And yeah, like I said, it's that formula most concentrated to a T at this point. But also it's kind of funny because I mentioned this traditional period where music is going. I guess kind of I don't know how to describe it, but I call it white boy rock, like with a RAWK, like not quite new metal, like I don't know, like Do You Have a Dead Man or like a Fuel, like it's something they play on Octane on that the Sirius XM, like that stuff,
Yeah.
that kind of rock.
Yeah.
So it's not quite new metal, but it's not quite regular metal either. It's but I guess on the what it's called, like hard rock, whatever. I don't know. It's little back all them things, So this is them like doing that white boy rock mode a little bit, where like it's a little more bouncy, it's a little more like almost like, well, they're from Georgia, Atlanta, so they have that kind of like they've always had this country kind of vibe to some of their songs as far as they go. So this is definitely more evident that that little bouncy kind of twangy. And so the intro like. Oh yeah, these good boys too. You kind of forget sometimes that that's how they are, in real life. They're like really chill dudes. So yeah, this is one of their peak white boy rock songs with Lajon, of course. Singing his ass off.
It's the only thing he knows. Matt, how do you feel about Separate?
I would say that was the feeling that I was having, with the exception of Lajon's voice, because what white boy rockers do is they yarl, and Lajon does not fucking yarl at all. He doesn't do that, because if he would have gone for a yarl, we would have ended up straight in the butt. And
that's right.
That's right.
This case for me, where you're saying Lorin said like this is Sevendust perfected. I agree with that. It is not my favorite song, which means probably the classic Sevendust song or style isn't necessarily for me, but I respect the shit out of it because the riff is tight, his voice is tight. This is great song, like the dirtiness that Lajon has from time to time. And this one, like, you got that like do 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 do, and he's coming in like high, perfectly pitched, strong, and I'm like, a little coming when he gets that going through. And I think that's the thing between like casual Sevendust, like I like Sevendust, and like, no, you do not understand. I love Sevendust. and it's like, it's because of that. Because if you love that, I don't know many acts that can give you that. I don't, like, in this sense, they're kind of one of one. Like, I do not know many bands that can do this.
Yeah.
And it's like their special sauce. It is truly what makes them them.
I agree with that 100%.
Look at me, fucking rolling.
You are, Matt. You're in the zone. All right, then let's keep it going. Up next, we've got Honesty. This song was interesting for me because I was trying to decide what I wanted more. Did I want more of the soaring Lajon, or did I want more of that crunchy riff? And I don't know if either totally gets enough play here, because it feels like right when I'm like, okay, I'm here, I'm on the Lajon train, that crunchy riff comes back. I'm like, oh, this crunchy riff, why hasn't this been around? So this one's a little uneven for me. I don't necessarily dislike it, but it definitely feels a little more uneven than some of the ones that have come before. Vyce, how'd you feel about this one?
I actually think this is one of my favorite tracks of this album, but not for any. How would I describe this? Well, I mentioned the guitar tones is very specific. These pitches and melodies they have, and each album has their kind of specific motifs that you will hear touches throughout the record. And yeah, just this season in particular has a very distinct tone from their other albums that they rarely come back to. I know maybe like maybe the most recent album they kind of touch on this territory again. But no, this song like this is that very I don't know how this that dissonance to it, like the high pitches. I think again that kind of the peaks and valleys again, the high and the low, like we heard in Enemy. So they kind of do it again here, and like I don't know, I can't really explain it. Just that particular arrangement of that the shifting kind of gets to me, and yeah, like, kind of it does. It's good for that kind of gym motivation too. Like, but I
Mm,
also I think more than anything, this album, like Animosity, and then this one feel very much like if you imagine having your own soundtrack, like you're
mhm.
going through stuff in like your life and you're having like if you're having a movie about yourself, or if you're making your own movie, like this is the part where like this is where you have at a crossroads or whatever. This is where you have you're in the kind of conflict of what do I do next? Like it has that very that tone to it. So yeah, so like this kind of the shift in tone, like I guess for the first part, it's kind of I don't know, not upbeat, but very
Like a
well,
rising motion of
yeah,
sorts. Yeah.
rising. I guess I don't know if yin and yang is the right term. Like this is kind of positive, not necessarily like good, but positive as in like aggressive energy. And now it's time for now it's the sad repercussions energy because like this is
Mm.
the come down. I guess like this is where like the consequences from action. Don't know. Like you kind of feel like
Yes.
that in a movie, like that tone of like from aggressive to sad or whatever. And the song, the lyrics themselves, like they kind of refer that to like this kind of regret is lamenting things, or not being truthful or not 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 doing our being our best selves in a relationship. So yeah, it kind of
Yeah.
yeah, it's that very interesting feeling that so even though like the song is a little bit weirdly dissonant, it still makes sense in the flow of the record itself of this soundtrack to a movie that never was. I don't know. I think
Right.
that's how I've always taken this album. Like this is a really cool like OST of this like kind of cool like drama that in my own head. It's,
Well,
I,
Vice, I am locked in with you because the first thing I thought when I heard this was Rocky 4, where he's driving and he's having the flashbacks of, Clubber getting knocked out. Like this feels like, oh, I'm gonna get in my car. It's gonna be a night drive. I'm gonna have memories, and I might have to pull over because I'm gonna have to cry a little.
yes.
Like I am fully locked into that. This is the montage song of your life. Like,
Yes.
you know, you're just like, "Phew, mistakes were made, but you know what? I'm still here. I'm still ready. Let's get back into the fight. Let's do it."
that's right, because you are looking at yourself with honesty, guys. It's right there in the title. Right there in the title. So there were a lot of comments on song meanings where people were talking about how this is about a relationship that went south, a relationship that went sour, people making mistakes and regretting, kind of agreeing with everyone. And then someone whose name is Moomin PL said, yeah, and probably the relationship went bust because of something he had said. Look at the lines in the second verse. I guess you finally took the deepest cut. I guess the blade on my tongue was just too much. Every word that I said came from my dark side. The blade on my tongue is pretty evident. Sometimes it's said that words can hurt more than a blade. They sent a poet once again. I heard that sometimes sometimes it is said, yes, the words can hurt more than a blade. That's the saying. That's the saying.
Send a poet.
Send it. Send it. directly to songmeanings.com. Perfect. That was May 29th, 2009. So that was I think it was a Memorial Day weekend situation. Grandma, I'm getting out of the pool for a minute. I'm going to towel off. What's your Wi-Fi password? So
Oh my god!
I got to get to the boards. I gotta
get to the boards.
I gotta say, this is it's such a wild tangent that you brought up. It's so funny to me because Memorial Day weekend is like such a weird time for me. 'Cause, like it's literally about remembering like the fallen or whatever. But like we have barbecues and shit. So it's just like it's better now. But it was such an awkward time. Even when I was in the army, because it's our big 40 holiday, of course. In the unofficial beginning of summer. But it's like I remember like the guy who got shot down in Afghanistan. I'm like, I was eating this burger. It's a very real feeling, and I think that kind of speaks to this. That's why I think even as time went on, stuff like this album, Season Dark, Several Soul, Analog, they work even more. Like I'm remembering all this weird stuff that happened to me before, or all this tragedy that befell people around me. But like and I'm still here. So it's like
Right. Yeah. We're going through the seasons of our lives.
exactly.
There it is. They figured it out. All right. This one, we're going to need to get our lighters out. It's Skeleton Song.
So if the last song is you're in the car and you're like, all right, this is the montage. This is all right. I'm back in the fight. And then you go and you're like, oh no. oh no. I may have broken this relationship more than it can bear. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. All right. I'll be back. Oh boy.
We mentioned the holiday vibe, or the depressing holiday vibes. I believe in the previous album Animosity, there's a song called Christmas Day. Kind of in a similar place. Well, I think it's the fifth track of that album, where it's like a slow, sad, guitar based, acoustic based song. This kind of feels like the sister song to that song, or like I guess that was a Christmas song, the sad Christmas. This is the sad Thanksgiving you're talking about. Like this is like you're home and like you're surrounded, but you're still everybody's around you, yet you're alone. Nobody can understand you. It's like it's that
Yeah.
feeling.
This one definitely taps into more of that sadness, loss vibe. The skeleton song thing haunting your memory. Which you then can tie in, what this album was dedicated, to Dave from Drowning Pool, to Lajon's brother who died, Reginald. So I was honestly, when I'd read that before I'd even listened to a note of this album, I was honestly expecting more songs like this. So when this happened, I was like, oh, okay, here it is. We're finally going to get to the acoustic one, which I know it's been very interesting to see over the years the reactions to Sevendust's softer side, which I know they have largely embraced. They did that whole acoustic album, and obviously they did Angel's Son for the Straight Up tribute album. And it does seem though that there is a large chunk of people who want nothing to do with this aspect of Sevendust. Like they don't like it. It's very interesting to see every now and again there'll be somebody who like, I don't want Sevendust slowing down at all. Which is funny though, because it seems like as time's gone on, this is part of their arsenal. But there seems to be some people who just they're not there for it. They don't want Sevendust to slow down at all, which is very interesting because I think this one is one of their stronger like slow it down acoustic tracks. Now what's funny is that on songmeanings.com, everybody wants to tell you what a skeleton does.
What?
They took it incredibly literal.
Oh,
There are so many comments that are like, "You'll be in it." Oh, I'll just read you a couple. So
Oh,
this is
please
a
do.
comment. This is a comment. It's from Andy W513, May 31st, 2006. What is a body without a skeleton? A formless mass withering and writhing on the ground on the dirt. A skeleton enables you to stand, to take a stand, to make a stand, to live.
One
Music-
may even say that the leg bone is connected to the thigh bone.
One may say, Matt, one may say. A music is the writer's life, and it is so that he feels it is the best way to convey his emotions, the way he feels. So I lose myself in a song again, says it all for me. This is one of those tricky songs. It's so well written that I cannot simply sum it up. You have to listen to this song instead of hear it. I believe that's there. You will find your own interpretation of it. There's nothing wrong in being far from right. I got to tell you guys, it's really
What a
something when I'm
journey.
told, that you have to listen to a song instead of hear it. Wow, this guy, another level.
The power of marijuana. Ooh, man. I mean,
Look, man, right now you are hearing the song. You're not listening to the song.
Listen to the song. So I
mean, you're
so there-
talking to two of the biggest weed heads that have ever
Oh,
existed
oh,
over here.
yeah.
Mr. 420 and Sergeant Blunts over here. Yeah, you're talking to real weed heads.
I love this idea that this guy has that what is a body without a skeleton? A formless mass withering and writhing on the ground. When is that ever? What is this guy talking about?
You remember all those skeletonless bodies you passed on the way to school?
You know, I go to school with this guy named Greg, and we don't talk about it. He's born without skeletons. He's just in a bucket.
withering mass.
He's in a bucket.
that?
And
there was that crazy ass cartoon, cow and chicken.
yeah.
Think of it. What is it? I can't even describe it. It's a cow and a chicken. They're like brother sister.
Yep.
And they have a cousin named Boneless. He's a bone, and he used to puddle on the ground with
That's who this guy's talking about. He's like, this is cow
Specifically
chicken.
talking about that character.
Now what's funny is that this next comment, it was posted by Courageous Insanity on December 24th, 2006. Christmas Eve. Personally, anyone can understand the song, but you really have to feel the song to completely know what this is. You will know it's almost like the world stops just to listen to this song. It's about life to me. A skeleton is what holds the body up, the frame, the structure. That's what music is to me, and I'm sure it is to Lajon too. I feel music as my essence. I always find myself, quote, losing myself in the song again. It doesn't matter if you're far from right with music or if you love it too much. That song, whatever it is, when it comes on, makes it all that much better. That's the skeleton song, the one that gives you a reason to get out of bed when it all feels like shit. And they go on and on. But I'm just thinking about the fact that someone's downstairs going, we gotta wrap these presents. What are you doing? It's Christmas Eve.
And then the skeleton bones are structure things.
I'll be down in a minute. You have to feel the song, Grandma. You have to feel it.
You're listening, but you're hearing, but you're not listening.
I know you heard the song,
But did you understand? But I will say,
I gotta say, like this again, like going on the journey of life with Sevendust in an album. Like, you know, I like kids. Yeah, the kids listen to this stuff, you know, when they're like in a teen high school. No, they have no context for anything that he's talking about. What's it? Like, it's really deep, like affecting like these spiritual wounds he's talking about. Not fucking clue. But that's kind of the fun of it. Revisiting it now, like 20 years later, like oh yeah, he was. I kind of feel he's kind of wrong. You know?
Yeah, he's in it. Well, you were hearing it before, and now you're listening to it. That's simple as that. There it is. Well, I think we can put our lighters away, and it's time to get back to some rocking with the song "Disgrace."
talk about getting back into the fight. Another one that's like, okay, we've had a montage in the car. We've had total collapse where I'm on the beach now. It's Rocky 3. I'm on the beach with Talia Shire, and I'm scared. It's and now I'm starting to get back in the gym. Now I'm starting to maybe jump a couple ropes. It's not going so well. Things are great. Love this song. This, like, for that type of like smooth vocal performance that Lajon, this is in the pocket. I love it. This song fully works for me. I don't know how new metal it is, but boy, oh boy, as a rock song, as like this is great. This is, I don't know what else you want from like a rock song. Like, this is great.
Matt, when you said getting back in the ring, I really felt that because the song is this build up like, yeah, I'm getting back, I'm walking back up to the ring. And when you get to the chorus, your only option is to jump off the top rope from the turnbuckle. That's the only thing that can be done in this chorus. I know it's not physically feasible for everyone listening to this song, but I mean, really, when you get to that chorus, you should find a turnbuckle and jump off it. Like, that's what else are you gonna do? What else are you gonna do? So yeah, I enjoyed coming back into the rocking again. And yeah, just doing some elbow drops to this chorus. Loved it. Vice.
Yeah, I think this might be my favorite song on the album. Because it's that feeling like just as we said before, like it's these this heart rendering kind of emotional outbursts set to this wrestling soundtrack. That's like you can imagine. We're kind of doing it right now. We're seeing in our minds this wrestling movie and this Bruce character who's getting up for one last hurrah. He has like you can feel and see this emotion that's happening. Like it's this kind of this sullen kind of remorseful energy that's being expressed in this like really like impulsive way. Like that's it's kind of this whole album to a T, like this song. And and it kind of that sadder tone, the sadder register. Not it's not like the same kind of upbeat stuff like in Enemy or the first few tracks. Like it's definitely more of a them down tune. But like it's still even with that though, it's still like there's still a positive pulse to it. It's like whatever happens, we're getting through this one way or another. So it's like yeah. I think it's my favorite song on the album is that feeling. And like I was saying before, like the things that first you hear it, then you listen to it. So
Mhm.
as time goes on, when you come back to this kind of, when you come back to these things, like uh, I don't regret my past. I was in over 12, 13 plus years, tours in Iraq, to Afghanistan, so forth. And like I would do it again if I had to, if I were given the option. But like there's definitely like there is some kind of remorse or like I wish this wouldn't have to happen. I wish I wasn't part of these certain things. So yeah, like what the kind of from my interpretation from my life to this song is like
Yeah.
I got through that fight, but like I wish there was another way that we could have done this. Wish there was a different way. But like I chose to do that fight, and I would choose to do it again. But like that's not if there's a better option for people out there. Because so I think it's a very unique, a very distinct feeling. Not quite regret, not quite remorse, but like this kind of resolve that no matter how bad stuff gets, that you've decided this is what's going to happen, so you're going to go commit to it. With all the pain and negativity that entails, but it's still ultimately it's your free will, it's your driving it. Yeah, but yeah, I definitely felt this song as much as
Yeah, that hits, dude. That totally hits. I cannot relate at all in terms of like no, in terms of I didn't serve. I didn't make the sacrifices. I have never been in the situations that you've been in. Let's let that be yours. And then the thing that's mine that I hear when you say those things are like, if you, I don't, when you live and you continue to live, there will be circumstances of which you will wish that it could have been something different, and you will realize that it could not be.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. And it's like, man, I wish that could have been something different, but I'm not who I am without it.
Yeah.
And I get to keep moving forward, and that's what I got to do. So it's like, yeah, that's heavy. Like that's fucking, dude, you're listening. Like,
We're listening now. We're listening now. I'm listening now. Perfect. All right. An excellent segue into our next song, Burned Out. So I was shocked to discover that this song is not a staple of the Sevendust live show. Stunned. They've only played this song 5 times live, according to setlist.fm. And 4 of those times were at the recent season's 20th anniversary mini tour that they did, where they played the album front to back. Otherwise, they've only played the song once, unless there's some undocumented times. Blown away. This is chorus of the album, and they know they've got an A+ chorus here because they do it like 7 times, I feel like, in this song. And I was never mad about it. I was like, this is the chorus. This is the chorus here. This one, I know I said earlier, there was the one where it's like, it's a crunchy and then it goes into the smooth chorus. This one I feel is a perfect combination of both. Could not get over this chorus. I mean, the builds, the riff gets better and thicker as the song progresses, and yet it still remains about that chorus. I was a little shocked. There were no comments in the song meetings about what the sun does and how it can or cannot burn out. I was ready for that. None of
Some
that.
may say it's the structure of our planetary system.
Some may say that it is the heat from the sun that causes us to continue to exist. Some may say that.
Dare I say, without the sun, we would just be a gelatinous mass.
Just a couple of flesh buckets over here. Yeah, I would. This is. I would think this is like a top 10, top 5 Sevendust song. This is incredible. This song is amazing. This is really great. Yeah, Vyce, think about this one.
Not my favorite album, but like it's like going from my favorite to this is like it's just a flex. Like look like what you just did for the past few tracks. Now I'm gonna switch it up even more. I'm gonna like do this. Like I'm gonna do what we've been doing. This kind of this rising chorus build up, but a new way. But like that little opening. Like they're just so cool. Like it's just so dynamic as musicians. They can just kind of like it's like almost feels like they're like flowing freestyling a little bit. I mean, not like at least as far as the flow of the album so far is concerned. Like they did the high energy stuff. They did the ballad. They did like this kind of the more morose thing. They did the fight song. And now it's gonna switch it up again. And like do kind of mix of all that kind of stuff, hopeful and like all this stuff like emotionally and sonically. Yeah, it's kind of flexing at this point. It's like really interesting like dynamic track that I always appreciate. Even though it's not like my favorite per se. It's like this is them showing off a little bit.
For sure. Oh yeah, they're definitely flexing on this one. Everybody is just like, look at us go, and look at Lajon. He is literally elevating off the ground. He is living. It's amazing. Matt, how'd you feel about Burned Out?
I really dug it. I liked what they were doing. The shift into this chorus, holy, they're doing the damn thing, and they're doing it well. Like this is a masterclass on going to the lift chorus. Like, and they're, but like the thing that I've noticed about the last couple of songs is he's doing this kind of like if I said, I forget which song I said, I think it was Honesty or Separate that I said was like the quintessential Sevendust sound.
Mm-hmm.
Post those songs, he's been doing kind of more quiet. Like he's been doing not the higher range that he can do in the verses, but a little bit more quiet, focused, like a focused intensity in his voice that like really comes out so that when he goes to that major lift, it pays a little bit better. I'm liking it. I think it's a good song. There you go.
There we go. And just to let everybody know, yes, the sun is important. And if it were to burn out, it would be a problem. All right? Be a problem.
News to me.
I would say if the sun did burn out, you would not have to go to work the next day.
Let that
My
meme.
boss would want me to be there.
Oh, yeah. Let the meme like you see this customer happens. What do you do next? Go vote.
Hey, I'm not going to be in today on account of there not being any sun.
Lack of sun and us spinning uncontrollably. Hey, before we die, I just got to go to song meetings right now.
Grandma, what is your Wi-Fi? Perfect.
I feel like I'm entering the last moment of Alive. Correct?
I think you're right. The last moment of Alive. Yes. Perfect. Well, Matt, speaking of last moment of Alive, this next song is called Suffocate. Riffs, baby. And listen, anyone who's been listening to this show long enough knows that if you're in a nu metal band and you do not have a song called Suffocate, one will be assigned to you.
Yeah.
Okay. And so Sevendust going 4 albums before having a song called Suffocate. I'm sure somebody rolled in. I'm sure that's probably what Morgan was mad about. He's like, we're different. We're a different type of band. And CVT walked in and they said, this is album 4 and you don't have a song called Suffocate? What is going on in here? And Morgan's like, you can't tell me what to do. And he's like, I need a Suffocate on my desk by the end of the day. I don't care if you're putting a bag over your head. I don't care what you're doing. I need a Suffocate. Morgan's like, I'm so mad.
I'm so mad.
And he's like, all right, I'll give
Fine.
you a Suffocate, but I'm gonna start the song off by just yelling, hate, and you're gonna just have to deal with that. And he did. And you know what? Mission accomplished. This is another one where it's like maybe this was written under duress. I don't know. But it all worked out in the end. It all worked out in the end. Because we're rocking and we're crushing. And Morgan put that fast drum beat under the chorus, so it's like a little more amped, you know? Because you could, if you don't have that drum beat under this chorus, this could be another like slow it down, Lajon arms wide, widescreen. But you put that drum beat under the chorus, now, you know, to tie it back to you, Vyce, Jason Statham can kick a guy through a wall to this song. You know, like that's what that little drum beat does. It's like, okay, good. No, we can fuck some shit up to this one.
I gotta put that in the role. That's a banger under duress. Oh my god, that's perfect. I remember this story about I think the Deftones when they did White Pony, their famous Mini Maggot, the Back to School song.
Yeah,
the retool of the last track, Pink Maggot, and like they kind of the story is like he's like we need a single. There's one in here, and he's like, okay, like he's gonna do it together. And he's like, give a dump ass song. So like,
yeah, I mean, listen, sometimes there's nothing wrong. We're in a different era now, though, because I feel like in that, you know, obviously the 90s, early 2000s, like the whole like sell out, I'm not trying to write a hit, I'm just trying to be music, you know, listen, not hearing, all that type of stuff. And now, if you don't write a hit, then you can't put any food on your family. So you need to write a hit immediately. So, yeah, so I mean, yeah, I don't think that's like a concern anymore. But back in the day, it was like, yeah, I'd like a hit, but at the same time, don't compromise my artistic integrity.
And of course, Deftones being Deftones, especially with that song, did the ultimate like we're not sellout moves of just like, yeah, we made that in an afternoon. You know, like just we created this world beater song, and they're just like, you know how easy that is for us. Oh, I love that.
Listen, me and Steph Carpenter, we just pooped that thing out. We were just like, boop, boop, boop. There you go. You wanted a hit, you got a hit. Now put our 30-year-old asses in a music video in a high school. Let's do this. Let's do this.
Weird. Chino is like a grown man. And then walking across desks. Sure.
Listen, that is we were talking about this recently with our friend Ashley. You watch these old emo videos and you've got these guys with full beards or like stubble, and they're like in a high school and they're like, girl, you ignored me. And it's like, you need to get out of there. We're about to call the police. What are you doing in this school?
Chris Matthews shows up.
Excuse me, sir, you're 31 years old and you're in homeroom. Can you explain why you're here?
Why here? The police are outside.
The police are outside. Songmeanings.com. I'm going to say it. Everyone got real lazy here. The Power Psy said, love this song. I'll let someone else try and find out what it means, but def one of my favorites. Smiley face emoji. It's called Suffocate. Okay. So then, this person's name, I think, is Crew Jebsel. Crew Jebsel said, meh, I got no clue what the song's about, but I agree. One of my favorites, smiley face emoji. Why is this the one that everyone gives up on? It's literally called Suffocate. This one seems like a real no-brainer. And everyone's like, I can't be bothered. It's one of my faves, but I cannot be bothered. I am busy.
I cannot crack the code on Suffocate.
Yeah, and I want to point out, sorry, go ahead.
No, please continue.
Oh, yeah. The first comment was posted on February 14th. Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day.
That's why they were Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I'll be down for
Honey, I love
dinner
you.
in a minute. But it's gotta log in. What's our Wi-Fi password?
You know what? Maybe that's what it is. He was about to dive in, and then they're like, it's date night. It's Valentine's Day. And he's like, love the song. Someone else figure it out. No, I gotta Marathon.
I say like for the requisite Suffocate song from Nu-Metal Band, I love that it's actually as hard as it goes. It goes like, again, it's just the strength of Sevendust. They can do this like really cool, like the bridge to the song with kind of like that little drum roll. Like it's like light and airy almost. It's like, yeah, we can again, like we can be in your face, but in the same song we just kind of like pull back a little bit, just like kind of like let it float. Like this, this is very like I said something like that. This is in the same era of Speaking Box Level Low. And nobody really Lajon doesn't have R. He sounds like R&B artist, but not just because he's black. Because like I mean, well, that's part of it why it is. But like his flow, he flows. So
Mhm.
and the whole band can do that at certain points too. This is one of those songs where they can just do that. Like it's just like it's a groove that a lot of bands just don't have. Or like if they do, it's like a start. Most of the nu-metal grooves are like steady bounces, like chug, chug, chug. Like they can just kind of switch it up on the fly like this, like go from this hard thing to like this kind of like this ethereal little wave, and then back to the back to the punch. Like this is like it's again like this is like masterful stuff that should have been this should have been like a big radio hit, but I guess
Yeah.
people they weren't ready for it. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I will agree. This was a very smooth listen, and in the way that some other albums that we listen to for the show can sometimes feel like either the production is very oppressive or it's just is like really hitting you, and you just feel like when you're done, you're like, "Yeah, it was a ripper, but I do have a headache." I don't have that problem with this album. It's like very smooth, but it's still it's not that it's not rocking though. It's rocking. They got the riffs,
Mhm.
but it's just smooth, and I think it owes a lot to the groove in that way. Um, yeah. All right. Up next, we've
Up next,
got
I have a question for you, Lauren.
Oh, what's your question, Matt?
How respectful of our time is this album?
Matt, it is so respectful of your time. It is 43 minutes and 54 seconds.
Dude, you get in there, you're in the gym, you get a warm up in. That's maybe 15 minutes on an elliptical, 10 minutes on a bike, whatever you want, something to get the blood going. You get your sets in. Perfect length.
Yeah. That's a full
Perfect.
5x5 squats, deadlifts, bench press. No, in my case, squats, bench press, Medora row, then some like curls, and a super set of curls and blood pressures. Like that's perfect. 40 minutes right there, perfectly done. You got a whole
Yep.
full one right there. I told you, I've done many reps to this album.
You know it. You're like, yep.
5x5, hell yeah. Yeah.
That's what I think you call that the season sessions. That's what
Yeah.
you did there. All right, well, perfect. Let's take a listen now to Gone. This song really accentuated something that we don't talk about too much with Sevendust, which is they are the masters of the soft yell. They love to put a yell in there, but it's soft. It's back. It's in the back. It's not obtrusive. It's like they recorded a fully powered yell, and then they just like, let's bring it down a little bit. Let's make this a listenable yell, which is an absurd statement. A listenable yell. A yell is supposed to get your attention. And Sevendust is like, can we soften the yell? Can we bring the yell down? And this song really has it because he's coming. He's like, oh, I'm like, oh, is this gonna hit me? I'm like, no, this is the Sevendust soft yell. It's their special touch, I would say. It's how you know you're listening to Sevendust song. I enjoyed this one. This is a good, back half of the album. Let's talk about how much it sucks to be on tour and being away from our families. Every band's got to have one of those. When you
You
see
have
this called,
to.
you
Live on
got
the
it.
road. Live on the
Live on
road?
the road. You're gone for so
Hard.
long, and calling it gone. Sometimes you can overthink these things. You know what I mean? And Sevendust is like, we're not here. We're literally gone. That's the same in the song. Let's move on. Next thing. We're moving on. So,
That song by the band Three Doors Down. I don't remember the name, but look, what I'm here. No, and I'm going. It's kind of like
Yeah.
it became this the anthem for us like the toy soldiers. Throughout the various
Oh.
theaters. It's not like
Oh.
I feel like and again like that really was like a guys on a road song, but it's kind of
Mhm.
you can easily translate that to any kind of being all away and deployed kind of setting.
Yeah.
Any band on road song can easily be transferred to that meaning. So like,
Mhm.
and once again, I kind of in my mind the same thing here. Like this is my anthem. I'm going so long because I was in fact going. Most of my career was overseas. I was Korea for 3 years, Germany for 4 years, plus 2 Iraq tours between then. Yeah, overseas for like at least a decade of my life. So like,
Wow.
Wow.
yeah, so like, yeah, so like, this is my part of it. Yeah, man, I'm going, baby, but I'll be back soon. So I definitely feel that. But again, like that's just the nature of any kind of band's road song. Like you can do whatever you want with that. They'll still
Mhm.
like have meaning to anybody who just, you can be like going doing, I don't know, you want a humming job or whatever. Like, I'll be home soon, baby.
That's right. Listen to the Sevendust song till I get back. All right. This is what I'm thinking
The
about when I'm
road dog on the plumbing trail.
That's right. I mean, for me, my go-to is always the Stain song "Home," where in the music video, Aaron Lewis turns into a flock of birds. Yes. So, I mean, I guess in this case, if Lajon were to turn into something to indicate needing to go back home, what would he turn into? Would he turn into another type of animal? What would he turn into?
I
What
feel
do
like
we
he'd be
think?
a griffin. He's so majestic like that. He's
Ooh.
the lion bird.
Ooh, I love that. Ooh, listen, I know this is a 20-year-old song, but Sevendust, let's
Fast
get
on
that
the
video
land,
made.
fast in the air.
Yeah, that's
Whereas,
the one.
Creed, like, Scott Stapp, he'd be an angel because he's still like, that's so
Yeah, you
obvious
can
he
just
is.
see him like,
Yeah, well, Scott Stapp though, he's the type of guy that's like, "Do you want to turn into anything?" And he's like, "I'm great as is. You like, there's nothing to do to this. I'm not turning in. You can turn into me, but I ain't turning into shit."
have you seen me take my shirt off?
Hmm. I would say Scott Stapp's big mistake though is cutting his hair. We've been talking about hair a little bit.
I've been talking about that Samson look.
Scott Stapp with short hair makes no sense. Inexplicable. It's like, grow it out, man. Just take a minute. You still got it. He just shaved it off for some reason, or some idiot gave him the note. Don't want to evoke the past. Cut it short. No, grow it out long. Grow it out long. Listen, I still think I don't like their music, but like that's what they got to do. Because aren't they reuniting this year? Isn't that like a thing
Probably.
that's happening this year? I think.
Well,
Grow your hair out,
they
Scott Stapp.
actually did some TikToks or something like that where they were all actually in the room together. And it was like, oh, they're in the room with each other.
Were these comedic?
I
Or
think they were because it was definitely, and I hope it's Creed, but it's like whoever it was definitely a play on like, oh, you're here. Like it definitely had like the, oh, okay.
I'll tell you
listen,
what, I'm looking now. They definitely are on tour. They see for August 7th, Comedown, New Jersey, closest to that's close to New York. So I'm like, you know what? I'm like, check this shit out.
okay, all right, but
Gonna
it's
be in
good.
Green Bay in July. Gonna be in South Carolina. Yeah, July. Shit, man. I'm like full of this.
All right.
I just heard news today.
Beautiful. Well, perfect. This takes us to the final song on the album, which is called "Face to Face."
So we've seen them. Well, I've seen them several times in this later era, and they've ended the show with this song several times. It is a perfect, like this is how you fucking knock it out the park. This is like the crescendo. This is the boom. But I was like, oh, this is like there's so much going on in this fucking song. I like, some of us like Deftones. Like we mentioned, like these bands were iconic of metal, but like but they would never were. They kind of outgrew it because they're so talented. But this is fucking middle of that song. Like this is like he's busting a rhyme. Like he busting that rhyme and like then the fucking bottom drops and the bass drop and at the end and that's full Moffat energy going on there. It's like wow, like it's so funny that again this is just kind of the why they're so fun as a band like conceptually. They have these really again these well thought out, soulful songs. Whereas it's like, here's this dumbass, like, party smite song, like, it's like, swing better, swing. Like, who was that a fucking song? But he did it, and he read that shit. He thought, swing, like, it's just like this really funny, like, this kind of immature, like, aggressive, we had energy to it. But, I guess that never really goes away with, no matter how old you get or how mature you become, how wise in the years, you'll sort of, always at some point, you gotta, you gotta, sometimes you gotta swing a little bit, sometimes you gotta tear.
You gotta. I say that when we first said we are gonna do this record and I looked at the back and I saw there was a song called Face to Face, I was like, I hope there's a part in the song where he says either say it to my face or say it to my fucking face. And he does. Thank you for that. I was this one so on one of my listens, I listened to this album while shoveling the driveway. And when this song came on at the end, I was like, Snow, you're done. You fucked. I'm this song is going to power me. And yeah, this is truly amazing. This is the second most played song by Sevendust live, according to Setlist.fm.
Wow.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, the only song they play more is Denial. And according to recent tour statistics, it looks like they do play. Yeah, this is their closer.
I had
Yeah.
a question on this one.
Mhm.
Is that Morgan Rose doing backup vocal? So he's doing the hard part, and then
And
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's
that's
the
Morgan.
line. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it.
Mhm.
I would say, because I love a good dichotomy, they should do a lot more of that too.
Yeah.
I'm big,
And,
well, you got the greatest singer. He's such a powerful front man, but man, I love that. I want one of those in album, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, I loved.
We're I hope that maybe at some point we'll have you back so we can talk about the some of the later Summit albums. But I recall specifically during the Cold in Memory, the kind of the reunion album between all the five members. And they have a really cool behind the scenes DVD that came with the album. And they kind of went to the specifics about how there's like with among the five members, there's like 5 or 6 different like vocal styles or arrangements. And they talk about Morgan specifically because they call his style. He has the bro, and it's like his kind of tonation, and then he has a high pitch the crow. So it's like
Oh,
yeah,
Crow
so
and the crow.
Row and the Crow.
they have characters to their voices. Like John has his throaty growl, then there's like his soft crooning. Like they all have. There's like 5 different. There's like each person, even Clint at later on will have his own kind of characters to his voice. But yeah, this is like maybe the only one where like Morgan into this is B-boy mode. I don't really hear him rap it either before this or after this. But yeah, he was busting that playing around with that joint. I went, oh, more
He
that
is.
too.
Well, he's I mean, also this is clearly like the peak of his like animosity at Dez, because there's multiple comments and song meanings once again saying that this is another song about Dez. My favorite being from Killswitch916, who said this song is fucking sick live. I'll have to check out into that whole Dez thing. Come on, guy, do your research. I like he saw them play it live. He's like, I'm gonna hop on a song meeting, see what people say about the song, and then he's like, oh, this looks like a whole thing. Gonna have to read on that later. Okay, bye-bye. This is an incredible closer to this album, and that is the album. That is Seasons by Sevendust. And now it is the part of the show where we talk about
Canon Talk.
That's right, where we talk about
the canon.
That's right. We're talking about the canon. So Vice, this is the part of the show where we decide whether or not Seasons by Sevendust, either songs or as a whole, deserves to go into the Roach Koach Nu-Metal Canon. So we'll start with you. Thoughts overall?
So this is a very kind of complicated proposal because again, you mentioned before that this specific time period, the come down into the transition into the metalcore, New American metal stuff. So like I don't know, it's hard to say because this might be like the one of the swan songs of nu metal of that era, you might say. Because as we've discussed and seen to this episode, the quality is definitely there. It's like one of the best albums of that era. It's just purely on the sonically, musically. But but at the same time, it's maybe not as iconic as like I don't know, like or Iowa or for Sonata or something or every kind of English album like or Make Yourself. So no, I don't know, like, it's not iconic of nu metal, but I think it's historically important as a time capsule of where it was. Like this is kind of the end phase of for not just that sound type, but also for this band. It's like this is the kind of they kind of evolved to a newer sound that's following on. This is a part of that. So I believe it is, but like again, my reasoning is that it's historically relevant, maybe not necessarily like well, yeah, I guess it's a canon event in its time frame, but it's not immediately obvious that it's a nu metal landmark, like song wise, but it's definitely an important part of the history, and so I do think that's worth noting.
Okay, yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, when we're considering for our personal canon, we kind of we've been told we kind of throw a lot of iconography away sometimes because we're kind of re-examining things. hearing instead of listening instead of hearing, you might say, and reassessing in a new way, saying like, oh, this is a thing that's taken. Like as Matt, as we've been brought down and yelled at for, like, you don't give enough respect to blank, and it's like sometimes it's not worth it. I'm not going to name any names, but I'm going to talk about my thoughts on Seasons by Sevendust, which is that this is the best Sevendust album that I've heard thus far. This is them perfecting the Sevendust sound. And the choruses, Ross's rules. Ross Robinson said, work on your choruses, work on your choruses, work on your choruses. And Sevendust said, we did it. Here they are. Here are 12 gleaming, beautiful choruses. You can eat off them. They're so great. And so for me, as a listener of Sevendust and as somebody who's been putting this canon together for years, this is the one. This is the whole one. I think this is a front to back situation. You've got all the things that you need. And even pointing out, as you did, Vyce, that this is like, yeah, kind of a swan song to an era. Like 2003 is that time period in which we have a lot of bands who aren't sure what they need to do. You know, Limp Bizkit are without a guitarist and they have to try to do what they do and things don't go so great. And Korn try to go back to basics. You know, Deftones stall out in a little bit and make sort of more like a shoegazy record, you know? And so here's Sevendust and they're like I said earlier, diamond tipped. We are honing our sound down to exactly how what really always sound. Now, they may have misgivings later, but I mean, Face to Face is your closer every night. You knew when you had something there. And by all accounts, I mean, also, you know, people are logging on at their grandma's house to comment on this song. Christmas Eve, all right? These are important songs. I say put the whole thing in. I think this is the one. This is the Sevendust record for me. Matt?
You know, coming into this, I didn't know what to expect. The last Sevendust record that we did felt the most new of the ones that we had done. Again, I mentioned it earlier that it felt like the default was going more into the metal instead of into the new. This one, I'm reminded of something that I said during our review of the last Edema record, and not the last Edema record. I mean, just the last Edema record that we did, which was their second record, where I said, "Where's the chug?" And we put that album in, and I was like, "Where's the chug?" This album has the chug. It has great songwriting, great songcraft. Lajon's voice sometimes does the thing that I love, sometimes does the Lajon thing. And if you're, as mentioned earlier, if you're a fan of that, you're going to love this. I have no problem putting this whole thing in. I really like it. I will say that there are points of the album that I feel are much more rock than nu-metal, but they keep bringing the chug back in a way that it isn't window dressing. It is imperative to the sound. You know, like it isn't just something that we're, how am I trying to say this? It is quintessentially part of the song instead of like, oh, we're just going to do something for a couple of seconds because that's what we should be doing. You know, if they were doing something else, I would be like, no way. There's no way that we could put this in. But because they're doing it and it is like, no, this is how every verse is structured. This is how we're formulating the song. We're honoring the style. We're honoring the genre. We're doing bigger, more robust things with the choruses. It all works, though. I am very, very pleased to have heard this morning. What a delight.
There you go.
Oh, the other thing that you may or may not know is that this is my first time hearing it. Lorin listens to the record 3 times. I always come in cold, so it's kind of like my first take, and Lauren's well thought out take.
Oh wow! Oh Jesus Christ! I wish I could hear this album all over for the first time. Jesus Christ!
There you go. We should also, I mean, really, the other thing that really kind of cements this record in the canon for us is that it's got multiple songs about beating somebody's ass and a song called Suffocate. Come on.
Yeah.
What more?
By default,
Say it to my face is a very nu-metal phrase. Say it to my face.
Say it to my face.
I gotta should emphasize that because it's so good, it's easy to forget why that stuff. People like a song for Suffocate, a song about beating people up. That's so dumb. But then when you hear this song do it, this perfect rock song, like, oh yeah, that's why this stuff works. That's why
Yeah.
that's why it gets people going. Like when it's done so well, it's like this is why I say it's important. Why will never die.
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's right. Because new metal is back. And that does bring us to the end of this episode. Sevendust Seasons in the Nu-Metal Canon. Welcome. Vyce, thank you so much for coming on the show. True pleasure. And people can find you on Twitter, Vyce Victus, with all of your wonderful takes. You are seeing, like I said, you're seeing all those action movies. You're telling us which ones got the ownage and which ones don't. We can also find you on the Action for Everyone podcast. Anything else you have going on?
Yeah, just I have my letterbox where I do my reviews, so you see most of my stuff there. Yeah, I'm on Instagram as well, looking hot. doing my workouts at Sevendust. Yeah, and I guess as always on Twitter talking about that stuff.
All right, I love it. Thank you. And you can say hello to Roach Koach on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. We're on all those, and you can send us an email, roachkoachpodcast@gmail.com. So, until next time, Matt, thank you.
Lorin, thank you.
Vyce, thank you. All right.
There it is.
There it is.
Word.
Roach Koach
Podcast.
hot all day, every day. It's the Roach Koach
Podcast.
all day, every day.